Nelson, Eddie, how are you, my people? I'm a little late today. Na ye, nga chonna chechiri. Chonna chechiri tujja kitambuza. Kati, kanendeka abajjanga bwe bigattako nga bwe tugenda. Tukikubemu kati tukubye. Lero nva mu gym ngenze nekikubamu ne Chris Fitness. Bani Chris Fitness akozesa nnyo. Akozesa waiting as amaanyi nzize saamanyira kukozesa. Kambika obwetyo. Ngerimuko katono. Antonio, kyekiriwo maani. Lwaki ekola bwetyo? But when I was exploring this Android radio, it has a lot of things. It even has Google Play Store. But the only option now this one has, it has car settings. Neera mu region settings temuli mu Africa. Terimu. But how is your Sunday today? I'm fascinated by this radio. Network mugira bibyeko. That's what the network does. But I hope you guys are doing well today. I wanted us to talk about what things didn't we cover from 2023 that you think should be covered in 2024. And then you can also suggest things that should be done in the podcast studio, because I'm already going to get Dr. Ranga, Dr. Jonathan Vianney is coming, and a bunch of other people that I want to come on the show that are going to be surprise guests. All our discussions are going to be inclined towards a person that loves cars and wants to be driving all their life, literally, because that's what our channel is for. For you to be able to enjoy your car, you have to have the other aspects of your life they are working out properly. Because omuntu ayinanga obufumbo tebutambula bulungi, olumu emmoroka teyejja okubanga etambuza obulamu. Omuntu ayinanga your relationship is not working properly, ate era emmoroka yejja okubanga etambuza ebintu. Kuyambako okuta ku stress okitegeera. Saddam, good evening. Mwesibwa Isaac, Sekaja John, 555, Chamba de Huntington, Regis Iraguha. Our day is wonderful and yours. Thanks for the time you get always. Amina, William, good evening. How are you? Yeah, so today nakedde class, nakedde kusoma kwa ekikulu kumenya. So today literally felt like it was a Monday because I was going to class very early in the morning. Tomorrow is Monday still it's, of course my Mondays are not as bad. Arthur, what problems are associated with driving SSD plates in Uganda? You have to pay money every month. I did think that's but then they give you a limited time. I've not really explored that, but whenever I'm already doing a series on traffic and road, so I'll probably explore that and see what is acceptable. But you're supposed to pay, I think every 3 months you pay there's a permit you pay, something that allows you to be driving that car, because you're not supposed to be driving foreign cars in Uganda. That is asasura musoro. Ideally what you should be doing is that if you buy a car from like South Sudan, if you buy a car from South Sudan and you want to drive it in Uganda, what you should be working on should be that you pay tax, and then you stay with your car. And sometimes if it's a car you have been driving in that country and you're just bringing it here, you already pay tax. That's when they give you red number plates. But then the thing with red number plates, you cannot sell the car. Okay, you can sell, but it cannot be transferred. So that's the thing. Because Bobanga or red number plate and that person wants to transfer it to their names, they have to pay the tax that you did not pay. Because that's why you find that it's very hard for organization cars, these very called number plates are red, to be sold to anyone, because Baba is licensing that particular organization. So unless in Morocco I find that it's not viable. I've had people that have tried to sell me South Sudan cars in the Moroka network I'm trying to be positive. It goes off and back on, but we'll try to move. So apart from the road toll that you pay to allow you use the car in Uganda, if you went to Kenya with a Ugandan car, you'd pay to be allowed to drive a Ugandan car on Kenyan soil. That's the same thing that happens here. I find that it's not sustainable. And yet teri muntu agenda gula motoka yaje gule $13 ate gwagiguze bitano oba 10. That's the only way it would make. But even still, even if you're allowed to drive it on Ugandan soil, then you get a time limit. Nti oba ogivugirako emyezi 5 oba mwaka gumu, then you stop. It doesn't matter whether you can pay the permits, you stop. You are not supposed to be driving it. But there is nothing literally. And then when you go on the road and you drive on that road for like a week, they'll master you and they'll know that okay, and then they'll start wanting to get money out of you all the time. So I think that's literally the only problem. Yeah. Today I was thinking about the Toyota Passo. You remember I said I was thinking about experimenting with the Toyota Passo. Man, padeka network cheka ankola. So you remember I told you guys I was thinking about driving the Toyota Passo. Tima gwange gufudde kati. Ngeze nembula ngomoto kabuli bwe buti. Then nentunira bu vitsi ngandayira daka vitsi ateke kamoto kati. Omuntu agule motoka entono because the Toyota Passo and the Toyota Vitz, they literally consume the same amount depending on how you drive. Omuntu atavuga SC mu Toyota Vitz osobola okufuna kilomita 17-18. Atavuga SC. Now, SC has no problem, by the way. The only problem SC has with us in Kampala is that we have a lot of traffic jam, because I've driven SC on High Abdul Nasser. I driven a car with SC full time ngangenda ku highway and I had no trouble. But the trouble comes when you drive a car with SC in jam. At jam we Kampala ngabo today morning I was going to class. About quarter for 40 minutes. No movement for 40 minutes. Now, if you are driving SC, and for those, because normally when they stop the cars, you're going to start thinking that, oh, bagenda tukwatenda chikatano together. So you leave the car running. So if you have SC attend normally in jam, that's when the phone thieves are really active. So you'll be there for like 5 minutes, running the car, the AC is on, because the engine is not doing anything else apart from running the AC. So that's where AC, people start saying AC consumes fuel. But if you're driving a car and on a highway, AC would not consume your fuel in any way. That I know for a fact because I've tried it. So, and when, basically when you're on a highway, especially with cars that are as high as this car Ractis, is when you're driving with your windows down, you actually spend a lot of fuel. Because when a car is already running, it's already running on full energy, full throttle. So it's when you put the AC pump, it does very little impact. At the last time it made me laugh. You say the Ractis was as if it was slapped behind. But you know when you sit in this Ractis, then because this thing is actually comfortable. It's very comfortable. Atenze na personalizingamu eyongera okube yakabi okitegera kate bobo girayo kati moto kanze mvuga AC full time togenda gisangamu mfufu okitegera nyonjo. This is literally the car. I think omuntu ainanga sente tezuwera million asatu ojigula. Of course now you can buy a Passo Sete, you can buy a Sienta, you can buy this Ractis, you can buy a Vitz, you can buy the Impreza, you can buy Mazda Mburike. There are so many cars that you can buy below 30 million. Let me see which other cars are there. Which other car? And by the way, guys, Senga, if hi Joshua, Regis, why is my car cracking and not starting? It's a Subaru XV. It's cranking but not starting. Cranking but not starting. It's doing that. Do you have fuel? That's the first thing you need to check. Do you have fuel in the car? Because that's the first reason the car will crank and not start. Then the other thing is, if the car tank has fuel, is your fuel pump working? You get? Now, if fuel is there, fuel pump is working, then now, because there are 3 elements I've been telling you, 3 elements that make a car run. Air, fuel, network emaze nekomawo sijirabe nagira bambadde mbirowoozo. I was saying that Regis mbadde nziramu gwe. I was saying that if a car cranks and doesn't start, check the 3 basic things that make a car run: air, fuel, spark. Because if the fuel is in the tank, check the fuel pump. Which tegira. Then if the fuel pump is doing, then you check the air. Most of the times the air will actually let the car run, but it will start, run, stop. Start, run, stop. Start. That's the air doesn't have a lot of effect on starting. Tetera kulemesa motoka kutambula. Kutandika. Eyinza ogiremesa okutambula. Then check the spark. Now the spark has a lot of elements. The spark runs even with electronics. Amasanyalaze bono fuse wire. I remember there is a time nali nvuga namo kadinga ani mukukirira nziru kemisine entaddemu ne SC nezikiro mulundi gumu. Na twali twakasamu engine empya. Kachirayika when we put the new engine waliwo obwaya bwe baali bakutu ne butakutukira ddala naye ne busigalako katono. So I think when I hit those potholes I normally hit akawaya ne kakutuka. Oh, the wiring guy came in matuganyina wiring guy. The wiring guy came nanonya fuel pump ngereta. Fuses onanga namu until he thought about something. That's when he went into wire frame, by the way. It's a frame wire. Kakwata bukwasa ku engine doesn't really do anything. I think because it's a frame wire. And when he made the frame wires go back, the car started. No problem. So you need to check if the fuel is there and the fuel pump works properly. Check the spark. Because if any of those electronics is not working as it should, then the spark will not be coming. So I think if it cranks and doesn't start, then start by that. Then, emotoka yobo bagisamu ka switch, dukira, because there are times that you would forget to take a switch ako mu motoka, the kill switch. So I think those are the places you would look. But majority of the time, your normal mechanic, you need to get a person that does wiring. So which 2024 topics should we look at, guys? Yeah, 2024 to 2 topics chendala zowuliranga mu 2023 either tetwazi kwata bulungi tetwazi tanya, and we should high Martha Clark Rame high 2024 topic. We should focus on things we need or want. I heard that Paso can be washed together with utensils. Brian, atakati oyononye bwononyi. Hajara, how are you? Sekaja John, the way you used to kuwana the vits, linda bonovuga haria. I actually don't want big cars. You'll be surprised. The moto kenene sizagala. I find that big cars are too much responsibility for me on the road, and I don't want that much responsibility. I don't want to have the responsibility to not be able to shout at a border guy when he's being idiotic. I don't want the responsibility. Everyone thinks you should be. You're rich, even when you're not. So I find that I don't really, I've never really wanted to drive a new car. Kawundo, echinjagazi okuvuga kawundo nti amafuta ngasobola. 8 kilometers per liter is okay. But I've never really admired driving a big car because it's too much responsibility. Actually, ne practice nene. Irabo abayi waliyo omuntu asobola okujja agigule ajaje twali. Practice is too big. I want to go back to my Vits. Although I want to experiment with a few cars. I think I want to experiment with the Sienta. The cars I've literally been experimenting with these cars, trying to find out which cars should you be buying. Vitize ya lukumi empia the new model buy. Nenenka dinayogula. I've already told you. The Vits 1.3 only buy the 2NZ. The Ractis you buy. So I think I also want to experiment with the Sienta and see whether it's a car that you should invest your money in. Bine bintu bana nawe bogera njagala jivuga munze njewulire njivugemu ndabe bwetambula and all that. I think it's one thing that I want. Arthur, you look exhausted. How is your Sunday? Saddam naked demo class. So I normally on Sunday I'm supposed to be sleeping. I did not sleep. Yesterday I slept up to 10 a.m. but today I woke up very early. Was going to class, never to kwatire bwa yise for 1 hour, never to kwatira kubiri another hour, emulago never to kwatira dakika ngabiri. Ukitegera. I think I need to sleep. Thank you for noticing. Ani agambio, no, you look exhausted. Saddam, yeah, I think I'm exhausted, but I'll be okay. after here, I'm just going to wash the car, and then excuse me, I'm going to wash the car, and then I'll go shower and sleep, and then I'll be waking up to eat food. KMI, hi. Antonio, this year I think we need more lectures on banking and insurance. Thank you. I was thinking about that myself. Yeah, I'll get some people from banking, I'll get some people from insurance to come on the podcast. On the live broadcast, I'm going to see which person I can get on the live broadcast that does finance. I think I have one of the guys that used to mentor me as well. Very good with finance. I'm thinking of accessing Tony Ottawa. You guys have heard of Tony Ottawa. He's the CEO of the Stanbic Business Incubator. I was once a trainee at the incubator there. Very lovely guy. I want to see if we can have him on the podcast or one of these. So I'm taking notes. Anthony Agambe, banking and finance, banking and insurance. Solo, how are you? Solo Extra. How much fuel does Primo 2008 consume? Fuel. How much distance that? Okay, now let me tell you this. This is something I've discovered. As long as you're driving in Uganda, a Japanese used car, majority of cars will take you between 12 to 15 to 17 kilometers. Majority. Keberia sisi rukumi, keberia sisi rukumi bitano. If it's in good condition, tezitera kusuka 17 kilometers per liter. Now, there are these big 3000 cc. Now, for some time, that's why I'm starting to question the decisions we make in buying very small cars. Because in vuze sisi rukumi bisatu, ndimu rukumi bitano. A Maroka, okuja kunga you're driving a manual car, I will tell you that my Corolla, consumes better than the Vitz 1000 cc. You'll be surprised. My Corolla consumes better than the Vitz 1000 cc. Unless you get a manual car. Automatic cars between 1000 to 1500 cc consume the same. So there is no reason why you go buy a 1000 cc car if you have enough money to buy a 1500 cc car. Right now, as you buy cars, buy a car that you're comfortable with, a car that has buy a car that has the things you want. If you want a nice radio, buy a car that has a nice radio. If you want, like you see how I put these screens here for the urbans, very nice. But of course, in the morning they don't watch because now we want them to sleep in the morning as we go take them to school. Why? Because if they watch TV as they go to school, then they doze in class. But if they sleep, remember we leave my place at like 6 a.m. So if they sleep between 6 a.m. to 7:20 when we get to their school, then they are rested enough so they can be in class. But then in the evening, the first thing they do when they sit in the car is switch on their TVs and then they be watching. So make sure that when you're driving a car, the car gives you the enough space. Like my kids, Urban is growing tall. Like Movitsi yali atula munga engeri gye nange kale siri muwanvu nnyo naye era nange rasadesebo siri mumpi nnyo. So I would push the seat behind and he sits exactly behind me. So his legs would be hitting my seat. So when I got this car, they like it for the space. They like the Corolla actually the Corolla is very comfortable banange. Someone told me Corolla yange njagala nnyo. Corolla in savings kati mpana akasente akabuli wiki. But anyway, right now I think the question for you should not be whether you should buy a 1000cc car or a 1500cc car. 1500cc is okay. I think right now 1500 should be the standard. But if you're buying a small car like a Vitz, 1300 is okay. But all these other cars, 1500cc should be okay. It gives you enough power. But if you want extra power, and you're still a person that is still building your net worth and stuff, you should not go beyond 1800cc because you don't need to. Now, if you're a planned kid, nga bakuzala nalia, obera nalia, okulide nalia, ozimbye nalia, apartments, business zozili nalia, then you can buy a Harrier 3000cc. But if you're not planned like Arthur, nti nezimba kuva wansi, ebyobugagga byenzimba byenyina n'abaana bange bagenda okuba nabyo kubanga kitange teyandikira bya bugagga, then you buy the small cars. Ebintu tutandike tuleme kwewanika because ene waffe sinalaba yavuga kawundo ene waffe jembera mu estate I've not seen anyone that drives a Kaundo. I think I've seen another Ractis. I've seen 2 Vits. I've seen a Sienta. Today I saw an Impreza. And then the rest of the big cars that I see are double cabins. And those guys are army people. They don't buy fuel. Which tegera. Then I think I've seen a Pajero as well. Then there's a guy I see that has a Land Rover. He's a State House guy. Then there's another guy that has a Land Rover. He parks it. Tajivuga. Aina ye bi Land Rover bi ebikadde. How Katichobo Manya Kyle Bryan the Primo 2008 will basically be taking you between 10 to 17 kilometers per liter. Yeah. Boss Vits ne Paso chichi singa. Don't even compare Paso to Vits. I would not buy Vits with my money. If anyone wants me to drive a Vits, they will just give it to me. I mean the Paso. The Paso is small. The Vits gives you a lot of space. The only reason someone should be buying a Paso is if they don't know about the Vits. Or if the money they have can only afford the Paso. Because the Paso is cheaper in the market. Which take it. It's cheaper. When you're buying a used car, you can even get a Paso at like 13. But Vits new model, you can't. Which take it. So I find that the Vits is definitely better. Arthur, you should elaborate more on what should people consider when buying their first car. Derek, I think the first thing people should consider, I'm going to do that broadcast. Podcast, because the podcast I can elaborate more, have plenty of time, I can edit and all that. So when someone is definitely buying their first car, they should look at whether they actually need a car, because if you don't need a car, don't buy a car. There is no reason why you should buy a car that you're going to keep in the parking literally all the time. Instead of buying a car, use that money and invest it in your business. Because everybody has something that they do as a business. Invest it there. But also, I was in class with someone that brings in leather sandals. So she's going to sell me a pair is at 120. I'm imagining it's really good quality. She says she's importing them from Europe. I'm imagining they are really nice. And so if you're the kind of person that imports stuff, instead of getting 15 million to invest in a car that is going to be parked literally all the time, why don't you invest the 15 million in importing, let's say, sandals? Which take it. But it's very simple for you to understand once you start making money. Which take it. So the first thing that people should think about before they buy their first car is, do you need a car? Or you just want it? Together because I'm broadcasting. Thank you very much. Antonio Agambie, banking and insurance. Derek Agambie, what people should consider before they buy their first car. Abdul Nasser. Arthur, talk about people in Gulf countries, how to save money in Uganda banks, because it's really important. We are many here. Our people eat our money when we send to buy us some investments. I think Abdul Nasser, the first thing that you guys in Gulf countries should do, the first thing you should think about doing is, that's the first thing you should do. Mwetegerere kira okulowooza nti omuntu omulala yasobola okutegerera sente zo gwe weekoledde, mbwayinza okutegerera engeri gy'olina ozisipending oba engeri gy'olina oziinvesting. That's why I've literally also told you that don't send me money to buy a car for you. Give your money either to your wife, to your brother, to your sister. Let them come. Ngamba kyoyagala bajje bakulondereko, because nze siyinza kutegeerera omanyi kyoyagala. That's why normally I tell you, actually, if you want to buy anything, invest in anything, wait and come back and then do it yourself. Because people here think you guys have a lot of money. Yes, you may have a lot of money, but literally one of the reasons why you guys have a lot of money is because you can literally switch off your phone. Nebatakubira simu kusumbuwa. But I think that one way you can do is probably putting your money in a fixed account, one that gives you profit, because if you're investing in bonds and bills, John Bagamba, you may not be able to be here to make the decision, and then you may want someone else to do. So I think that you could invest, you could bank your money on a fixed account for like a year. When you come back at the end of the year, then you invest in other things when you're there. Yes, we should also talk about investing in bonds and T-bills. Yes, I'm going to work on that as well. Investing. Top channel. Hi. Paul Banaria. Paso siji kubenyo Paul Banaria nze byenjogera byange birowoozo byange si byabalala. You drive 1 hour, 20 minutes. More than that sometimes to drop your kids. Yes, more than that sometimes. So you mean that practice is your project car? It's not my project car, but I try as much as possible to make my car feel comfortable because, first of all, my car makes me some money through for the love of cars. Secondly, my car is the place that my kids sit for 1 hour in the morning, another hour in the evening. They need to feel comfortable. So I also need to feel comfortable. So while I'm doing my things, for example, recording videos and all, my kids need to be comfortable behind there watching whatever they're watching, which together. And this is something that it's okay to not suffer. It's okay to not suffer. It's okay to give your kids the best, even when there are some other kids that are suffering. Which together, because I realized the suffering I went through because of the decisions that the people that made me made. Which together, like today, if you go having sex with random people, you get HIV. It's a decision you made. Which together, if you're a carrier and then you have kids with another carrier of sickle cells and you have a sickle cell child, that child's suffering will be your fault. It's a decision you made. I've started knowing that, okay, now I made the decision to have these two children. Let me try to give them the best. So the practice is not my project car. No. Financial discipline and real estate, also topics on agriculture in addition. Thank you. I already have someone taking notes on my behalf. Temufayo, someone is writing those things, so she's going to be taking notes and giving me a summary of these things. But if it takes 5 people, at a Paso takes 7 people. Paso? No, Benjamin, you're talking about the Paso City. I'm talking about the Paso. I'm not talking about the Paso City. Paso and Paso City are 2 different cars. Sheldon, Arthur, small cars, let's leave them for small girls of Makerere. Yeah, take it now. You see, it is Arthur is an allow 4 million per month. Which car do you recommend for a starter? A starter car with 4 million, you should be driving any car you want. That's around 48 million annually, right? 48 million annually. I'm thinking that 4 million is your take home after taxes. So 4 million is good money. It also depends where you come from. If you come from a background like me, where I come from, there is nothing behind me. Everything that I have starts with me and goes forward. Then you should be very careful which car you drive, because I know a guy that inherited a lot of money, a lot of cars, a lot of houses, and as I speak, he's begging. So it depends. So you need to see where you come from and where you want to go, and then you decide which car you want to buy. Like me, I could drive a Kawondo properly. I could. Because never kuba kujewola nyina we nsobola okugenda ne bajimpa ne bangamba iyo ogenda abamu ne bampa ne motoka ne banga agenda onosasulanga ofunye okitegeera, but nze nepimira ninga kati nze ka buno motoka, like I've told you, 1000 cc to 1500 cc, those cars consume the same. Nze zonna nzigezeseza kati nzonna nzimanyi okitegeera, because one of the reasons why those cars consume the same is because they use the same roads. Then the thing is, you people that are driving 1000cc cars, emotoka y'olukumi ogirinyanga y'olukumi ng'ate si ya 1500, kati ne weesanga nti amaanyi g'okozesa genkana nono w'olukumi ne weesanga mukozesa amafuta geegamu. So I think 1500cc cars are okay for you. Eriwe no gye message comment yani Martha, Antonio, please share your number. I want to ask you something. Martha, you tell me. I can give you Antonio's number. Arthur, small cars, let's leave them, okay? Hajara, Arthur, njagala motoka milioni 28 nayenga ya bondi. Mbaweko 25. Na isi manyi motoka chintufu ensana. Hajara, which car do you want? That's the thing you need to ask yourself. Gwenga Hajara, uyagala motoka chiwobotandikira. Ebira tubirabe. You need to have a list of cars ogamino njagala, sijivuga. Then we start from there. We don't have a lot of money. You people have a lot of money. Good evening, Alan. Council Patrick Asiku. Katera Sheldon Agamba. Arthur. Are there a wish are manual? Yes, I've seen a wish which is manual, but 2010 and above, it's very hard to find a manual wish. It's not a CVT. Saddam, business management and leadership as business owner should be also a topic. Thank you. Business management and leadership. Yeah, okay. Martha, mpereza ka message. Lwaki nze middleman wano bina ebintu byammwe byonna. Pereza buweereza message. Emma agenda kuba Antonio bagenda kukuba era nikusitula ebyuma. Sorry for the mbogo. I meant that I earn around 4 million monthly. I wanted to buy a Paso Sete over Vitz. Depends on what you're going to use the car for. I would recommend a Vitz any day. Between a Paso Sete and Vitz. Why? The Paso Sete kind of you want to believe that it gives you advantage of extra seats. That's a fact. So you're literally driving a Ractis, thinking you're driving a Paso Sete. Also, I find that, of course, now they're all Daihatsu engines, but I find that if you got a Vitz of like 1.3 liters, which will cost you about 25 million, 26 in the bond, depending on where you buy it, can go lower, depending on the class that was imported. Because around the import poor class, they bring even the bad ones. But if you get a good one, Abasinga was is 1.3, 25, 26 there. Then Paso Sete depending on where you buy, it can probably go lower depending on the class that was imported. But I find that the Paso Sete is overrated. Nzenga Arthur. But for a person that has wanted to space your new model, a Paso Sete would be a very good substitute. But for a person like me who would drive anything, as long as it achieves my my goals, the Vitz would do any day. Which take Toyota Fan Cargo is also a good car. It has the 1NZ engine. As long as you make sure you get it in good condition, no problem. You buy. Is your brother you can't connecting? Me, I'm going to give you the number. Kasta ema agenda kula broadcast ajja kumanya nti Martha yesabidde namba. San Antonio yagisabye. So Antonio tebajja bamanyo. Africa Carota, how are you, my brother? So anyway, what topics we are talking about? Topics we should be thinking about doing in 2024. Topics we probably did not do properly in 2023, or topics we missed in 2023. Some of these topics I'll be bringing guests on the podcast, yeah, and some of these topics I'll be talking about them on the broadcast. Which together, yeah. Tulinayo ipsam enkola enkadde ziri mu namba ya UB jeziri UB ejeziri, they are there. But why would you want to buy ipsam? Why would you want to buy ipsam, Peter Kawesi? In this day and age, someone admires the ipsam. Batunga mwagala. Why would you want to buy ipsam? Kadno wa wishe ya manual nali shirabye. But you guys, for the guys that know how to drive manual cars, if you ever get your hands on a manual car, buy. Ate sengo gwa kumoroke ya manual ngirimu engine ya Valvematic. Whoa, bogenda kujoga. Because a Valvematic is literally the best engine there is now. I find that Valvematic for me is better than hybrid. So if you have Valvematic and then you have manual, na ninji gudde car Valvematic manual gear mukaga na yenga ambi engine nga afu atenga baseera zinalinga bawa million mukaga. It was a Corolla, the new model, like the ones that are moving in the convoys now. But the engine was bad, the interior wasn't that nice, the body wasn't nice, but it's literally very comfortable. It has 6-speed gears, but nainga basera nga bagala million mwenda nga ate million mwenda bwenjigula ngenda gisamu engine ya million 3. It did not make sense. Atenge liku nama nkado wali ku U80, but I wanted to give them 6 million. I put 3 million of the engine, respray the body, egende ngegwera million nga 10 n'emwawo. Interior boza njozi. Arthur, can a health worker look good in the Corolla? Why not? Saddam, a health worker would look, but you guys, you need to know, health workers are normal people like us, but Nakateba. It's just that you chose to do sciences and we chose to do arts. Watch together. Yes. I find that people would look good in cars they choose. Watch together. There is no car that is made for certain professions. There is no car that is made for builders and all. We choose which car we want. Hajara no na Antonio bagala tukuba mukwano kati mu face. Bana ikape yokubide mugire wantu alina Martha ne Emma. Katulina wa Antonio ne Hajara. Ne kati Antonio simusidamu. Hajara musidamu. Mugenda chikola mutya. How about basic maintenance and maintenance? That's also something. Yeah. Top 5 cars that are least expensive to maintain. That's something I'm going to look into it. However, I've recently realized that literally now the cars that we are driving in Uganda, fena zituvuga. Isawe ne morokezo zona maintenance is literally the same. I think bana bantu abaleta spare baleka batulane mu meeting. Why? Echigulu je baita CV joint, the full one is I think 120. For every car it's 120, as long as it's Toyota, for example, 120. Steering racks zona za mitwala 3.5. Recently nabagamba Honda je tuli mukora wano, steering rack nga bagituguza mitwala 3.5 kuba bagendo kugirangazi steering rack bid. I still have to check to see which one works. Nena zo za mitwala 3.5 iyakora na jugule mitwala oba 3.5 era. Like literally the spare is almost the same, but I'm going to do a video on that, but I'm going to base it on mathematics. Antonio Finyo competition. Arthur, please highlight me about changing automatic gear to manual. Don't, Sheldon, don't. One thing you guys need to understand, first of all, a motoka manual. Even you guys that are going to buy manual cars, you buy your manual car, when you reach time to sell, it will be a tug of war because not so many people drive manual. Okay. Then, not many mechanics can actually work on manual cars. Then, spares for manual cars is the spares are not as many as the spares for automatics. Good evening, Arthur. I hope you are good. Project Impreza 2008 we now 15 million. So esawa yona about the topic. I think mental health is something we can talk about. Thank you, White Walker. Our first guest is a psychiatrist. He's a doctor. He works with Bulago Hospital. Agenda kuja tugenda kwogera ku mental health. We're also going to talk about depression that I personally believe doesn't exist, but we're going to talk about it. Toyota Fan Cargo is good or not? Help me. Gerald, God took. I've already told you the Fan Cargo is a very good car. Yes, you buy. It has the 1NZ engine. Still has the same gearbox. Very easy to maintain, easy to keep on the road. Uncle Arthur, converting is easy. Hey, wasiramu said that oba yafu said dom katulichi. Automatic car and manual car, which is better for resale value. Automatic cars are better for resale. So if you're the kind of person that is buying your car and you don't expect to keep it in the family like I've kept my Corolla, buy automatic. Ata munange ndi kusoma motoka. See Antonio. Hey! Kale! Good evening, Chris Da Vinci. Hey! Nemwe, awa yange teweze. Tubuzaida chika 15 awe were because I have to wash the car then sleep. Njagala kwebaka. I think today I went to class, anti-soma marketing. I went to class and the class was too exhausting. Like it was a lot of information pumped in my head. Which Tegira. Hi Johnson Luinga. And then after that I drove, then I came straight to the gym, the Tukoramne Chris Fitness. And yeah, and then after that, then I came home. How is Outlander? Forget about it, Edwin. Togula. Ba contestant buba chajja. Hajara ulira. Hajara tujja kuva ku for the love of kazi katofumbiddwa. Wagambe oina akakalaka. Wakaisa katya. You said you have a what? Akakalaka. That thing, you call it what? The top 5 agenda kamaliriza. Yeah. So what topics do you think we should add onto the topic lists planned for 2024? Some of them we have probably not covered. Some of them we have covered but merely. And some topic, please Arthur, consider a lecture as about types of engines. CVT Nevida. Yes. Amakaya. IST in a Forester. That's a very bad comparison, Julius. IST is a small car, Forester is a big car. The IST maximum engine you'll get will be a 1.8 liter, which I don't recommend. It's too big for the car. You don't need that much power. The Forester is 2 liter. So those are two different cars. Now, depending on who you are and what car you want, what you want to use the car for, I find that majority of people that buy Subarus buy for the passion of it. Yet the people that buy IST, they buy because they get low fuel consumption in an expensive car. Which tegera. Mfa maka ya ge mazima. Hajara wabanga chiri option bi. Eda hajara afa maka ye byaddalaga bwaga oba muyayi. Matha. Amakaya is lack of buju buju. Abdul Nasa. Hajara omusobola. Kati no tuba ku live broadcast omusobola clickinga ku bifaananyi byabwe mu birabe. Nze mbabulira. Ate Matha yawakola akakodyo ne yekweka. Ata Toyota Rush tubulina eyo jije buli Rush naye tukyalina bulyo mu 2010 bwe butyo nenga je uli. But these days I've started sporting exotic cars in Kampala. Bana Uganda sente didi. Iya bana Uganda bayina sente. Era sente Kampala okaba weka. Abantu bayina sente. Good evening, Tale Samuel. Bana Iwaga, nyine dajika no kati 10 mbasibule. I have 10 minutes to say bye bye. What topics should be included in 2024 broadcast and podcast? Because podcast studio majida we are day. Tomorrow I'm going to be uploading the second video in the series of the series about the Traffic and Road Safety Act, and then I'll be uploading 2 videos every week for you to learn nange njigira by the because nanga kataba kombanga soma gusoka wachitegera. But waliwo Toyota Rush empya SUV I saw on NBS. Jerry, ne gundi, ne Toyota Uganda bayina Toyota Rush empya. It looks like a TX. Arthur, I like a small car. I hate centered speedometers. I see in many come with. You buy the Ractis. The Ractis doesn't have a centered speedometer. Let me show you. Kanjitandike no jandika. Ojidawa. So that's the Ractis. This is the radio. So the Ractis doesn't have a centered speedometer. So, but the centered speedometer, I think it's in the Raoul, it's in the Vitz, it's in a lot of cars. Put Kaundo horn. That one is like taxi. Do you know why I'm sticking to these ones? Kukorora nataka ko bidie bigombe bya Kaundo. Bifa. Paka na yobo twasazeo, we switched to the normal PBs. So I'm not going to touch this PB of this car. I'm going to leave it there. Probably what's the price of the Vitz RS new? And Vitz RS terabika kodala. Nenga jibaide million nga RS jibakolanga RS the sport version will probably be 28, 29, 30. But this other normal Vitz that has a 1.3 liter engine or 1.5 liter might be 26 there. How does Vitz differ from Yaris? It's the same car. Yaris was made for the European market. Vitz was made for the Japanese market. How to manage different businesses without collapse. Yes. Joshua chitufu nyecho. Tucheta aga nofena. Tucheta agecho. Wabula speak. Zoziulira. Atete muri ufa by the way. Kanjide munji wa sampling. Aha, it has come. Kamba sampling mwe music mujja na kutia. That's like half the volume. Let me get another song. I was saying it has a lot to do with the settings in the equalizer. That's a different setting. That's a That's a different setting. 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 Then this is my setting. Yeah. So anyway, it has a lot to do with this, how you set your sound. So you have to take time. Resale value cars, which is okay to when it is okay to minimize loss. Robert Chisalama. Is that a topic we should njawulo ki ku RAV4? Siraba bannange naye abasajja babi nnyo. Sirimba tolimba abasajja nno nga tuli balungi. Comment ya Hajara badde bagikutte aba Uber abasiba ya YouTube. The cars are Vanguard and RAV4 are literally the same car. However, the Vanguard has 7 seats. That's the difference. But they're literally the same car. And also the Vanguard is a little, I find that it's a little more rugged than the RAV4. I find that most of those SUVs are actually not comfortable. They give a lot of comfort. Resale value of cars when it's okay to sell to minimize loss. Robert, let me tell you this in one statement. All cars have resale value, especially if you buy right. The right time to sell is when you don't need to sell. Boba toyagara kutunda, that's the right time to sell. Boba wetaga, you really need to sell, you're going to make a loss, always. Like you have a problem and you really need to sell, you're going to get problems. You're going to lose money. Arthur, can I get a good Vitz 1.3 liter at 18? Yes, I think you should be able to get one. Compare which new model with Primo new model in everything. Wish new model, Primo new model, I will take the Wish new model any day. Nzenga Arthur, I find that the Wish new model is much more comfortable than the Primo, yet it's priced lower than the Primo. Which take it. Arthur, how is the radio? The radio is very good. This is Android radio. But Arthur, how much is that radio? In the radio, we maji tunda bubwe site temundeke. Mja kuncha ya abantu ambaji baguze emitwalo 8 abalala 7 abalala 6 already beye yaffe ba Arthur. Arthur, have you dealt with Toyota Verosa? Is it a good car? Verosa buy. The Toyota Verosa is the Mark II Grand. You buy. Arthur, do you need a specific permit to pull something like a speedboat behind you? Yes, you need a permit. Permit yange sijina wano. I don't have my permit here. But with every car, there's an extra thing that is added on your permit to permit you to pull anything. Even on a bus, even on a taxi, even on these, like my small car, you need a special permit, yes. Yeah. Ogena no nebajiga tam. So bagay Mbasibule. It's 6:11. Let me start reading the names in Mbasibule. Thank you very much for being part of the broadcast. I don't take it for granted. Now about this video later on in the day, later on in the week, in the year, or even next year. Thank you very much for being part of the For the Love of Cars family. Don't forget, I do pre-purchase inspection. If you're going to buy a car, I come with my mechanic and we make sure we choose the right car for you. We make sure you make the right decision, because buying a car is not simply about buying cars. It's also about buying the right car at the right time, at the right price. So we do that, and we charge a small amount of 450,000 as for 2024. 2025 will be a different story. 2024, we charge you a small fee of 450,000, and we make sure you get a good car. You have to book the day you want to do inspection in advance. For example, if you want to do an inspection next week, you book me now. Monday is all out of limits for now. You can't call me tomorrow. Network to say Serunjoji William, Chirowa James, Mutumba, Nakumaze Matembe, Abdul Nasser, Lucky Brint, Hashim, Clark Rhyme, Martha Academy, Hajara, Kyle Bryan, Sekaja Johnny Nakumaze, Balvids, Edrin Mugerwa, KMI, Solo Extra, Benjamin Sally, John, Top Channel 1-on-1, Katera Sheldon, Thank you guys. Council Patrick Asiku, Alan Mulindwa, Benjamin B. Namwe abali mukamuli, I don't take you for granted. Namwe abali about videos later on in the year. Thank you very much for being part of the family. Africa Carota, Gerard Tuka, Mr. Gad Sigerard, Gad Tuka, Chris Da Vinci, Johnson Lubinga, Serumaga Julius, Majwala Julius, electric cars in Uganda. Yes, that's another topic. Ismail Mutachala. Yes. Robert Chisalama. Tugume Andrew. Mark BZ. Arthur Mavo. Walekwa Samuel. Vianney here from Ginger again. Hi Vianney again. So guys, kamba sibule, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Broadcast yen channel katika maro kuoze moruka wano. Zenabaga nakumo kusasuido kuoze moruka in 2021. What was the date? It was it? I think it was August. August in 20. No. It was. But just know I last paid for car wash the first half of 2021. Sidanga mkusasura muntu kunjoreza moroka. Ukuva kore moroka anje yoreza everyday. I even bought a jet car wash, the one I use so can spray nga kone enjo zade ne spray nga kongo kubidi. So I last paid for a car wash then in 2021. Since then I wash my cars in Yoreza all the time. But guys, I wish you a very lovely evening. Don't do what you wouldn't want your kids to do. Be safe. If it's not on, there is no game. Don't drink and drive. And get enough rest because the week ahead is also tough. I think you see the look on my face. That's how you know you've had a tough week, a week that has you no rest, gives you no rest. I wish you a very lovely evening. Abantu boyagala bagame nti obagala nnyo, botayagala beesonyiwe, abatakwagala babeere wala, abatakwagaliza beewale, and all that. Then abakwagaliza nawe baagalize, anti bagamba yagaliza ofune. Don't ever forget that. I wish you a very lovely evening and may God bless you. Ciao.